is starting to move on in. Elsewhere across the Miami Valley, we don't have any warnings. So if you're just now joining us through much of the Dayton area, I know you've heard some thunder and lightning. We haven't seen anything severe quite yet. Same thing through parts of Greene and Clinton counties, thunderstorms in the area, but those aren't severe. And as we look out west into Indiana, you see the severe weather threat that we were talking about is just now starting to unfold as we have that severe thunderstorm watch that just got issued, as this could be a threat that goes late into the night. But the immediate threat right now is for Wayne County. Brand new tornado warning here through 9:30 tonight for this circulation getting ready to move into Cambridge City. Let me see what the exact speed on this storm is for you so that we can get a storm track on it for you. And fortunately, it's moving quite slowly, only off to the southeast here at about 20 miles per hour. So as I give a storm track here, this is going to put it into Cambridge City again within the next 10 minutes or so. I'd be in your safe space, though, right now. East Germantown in Indiana, that's at 9:19 p.m. Milton, 9:21. Centerville, again, in Indiana at 9:39. And then Abington, if it can hold together after that, at 9:51 p.m. this evening. Let's go on real close into street level here, and we can see the streets in the immediate path of this circulation. If I name these off, of course, you need to be in your safe space right now. But if you don't live there and you have some friends and family out this way, go ahead and call them up. Anybody with a Dublin or Cambridge City mailing address, safe space for you. The circulation is going to be riding right along National Road, right along West Delaware Street, Honeycutt Road, eventually out towards places like Foundry Road, Paul Road, and Boyd Road. You are all in the path of this circulation just now crossing Henry County Line Road as it moves here into Wayne County in Indiana. Aside from the tornado potential with this storm, we likely have some large hail ongoing in and around the Hagerstown area. You are on the fringe of that tornado warning. We also have a severe thunderstorm warning, which includes you there in Webster. And I would stay inside, away from windows, away from doors, the same procedures for tornado warning in those locations due to the potential for straight line winds and large hail that can also cause some damage. Let's check on the correlation coefficient mode of the radar. This is how we see if we have any lofted debris. And as we zoom in, we don't have any immediate evidence of that. What that would look like is a yellow, blue, or green dropout. But at the same time, this radar is looking quite high in the sky, almost 4,000 feet. So just because we don't have that debris signature dropout on radar, it doesn't mean that we don't indeed have a tornado there. We also just got a brand new tornado warning for Franklin County in Indiana. This, again, is not inside the Channel 7 viewing area, but this is an early heads up for you in Butler County. That this thunderstorm is now capable of producing a tornado, it looks like, near Blooming Grove. And so this tornado warning for Franklin County is going to go till 9:30 p.m. this evening. If that storm can hold together past 9:30, we may have to track it through parts of Butler County. Main concern continues to be here through Wayne County in Indiana. Tornado warning for a dangerous thunderstorm that may have produced a tornado back in Henry County. Cambridge City right now, this storm is on top of you. If you can hear me in Cambridge City and in Dublin, it's imperative right now that you're inside your tornado safe space. It looks like this circulation is going to pass directly over us there in Cambridge City and then right to the immediate north of Milton. So State Line Road, if you live near there, Wise Road, eventually out towards Pennville Road, all right along 40 here. Basement, if you have one, interior-most room away from windows. Again, the goal is to place as many walls between yourself and outside as possible so that you can protect yourself not only from the wind, but any flying debris that also may happen with this. And it's important, too, as you go to your tornado safe space, grab some extra protection like a helmet. It can just be a bicycle helmet. You could also put on some hard-soled shoes like boots in case you have to leave your home after a tornado has passed. Tornado debris fields, they can produce a lot of sharp debris, so any kind of extra protection for your feet and your head would be a great idea as well. As I analyze this immediately, you definitely see the circulation getting into Cambridge City, but you also notice that couplet just north of Dublin as well, so there may be more than one circulation in this vicinity that we're looking at. bottom line, dangerous thunderstorm right here that we need to take quite seriously. James Brown is joining us here at the desk. He's going to let us know if we have any damage reports and what you're seeing out there. James, anything quite yet?
You know, just checked with the desk. We've not heard anything as of yet. Going to reach out to the sheriff's office there. And again, as it crosses the state line, you know, the concerns we have, not only for our viewers in Indiana, but also as we look into the Ohio side of the state line. And it's interesting, you know, we were sitting here at the studio a little while earlier, out in the newsroom, and a lot of lightning. And as I was walking in, I heard you talk about, you know, 200 plus. Actually, it looks like almost 400. 383.
Well, and these storms, too, you know, we knew we had the risk for severe weather tonight, and we also knew we were right on the fringe of where the worst was going to be possible. Unfortunately for us, that has come in the form of a couple tornado warnings so far this evening. For everybody watching us here in Ohio, we have no active warnings in Ohio. We actually don't even have any watches in effect. We just have some non-severe showers and thunderstorms ongoing. But this event is really starting to get cranked up there in Indiana. The yellow shaded counties to our west are under a severe thunderstorm watch. Our counties aren't even under that, but we have a tornado warning. So we have to focus on that right away. Newest scan of the radar comes in, and it continues to show a quite concerning situation out here. I'm going to query some of these pixels and show you these wind speeds. Now, granted, we're taking these measurements from pretty high up in the atmosphere here, but we have that gate-to-gate wind shear of 88 miles per hour on that last scan. And so there is certainly some evidence of strong rotation within this thunderstorm. Let me get a little better scan on it here. And it looks like it's passing to the immediate north of Cambridge City right now. Once it gets past there, if you live near Germantown Road, Wise Road, State Road 1, that's where the circulation is going to be right away. But anybody within this tornado warning, which includes you there in Centerville in Indiana, pretty much anybody that lives right along Route 40 there, US 40 in Indiana and Wayne County, and eventually into Richmond, I want you in your basement, tornado safe space if you have one. James, one of the things we can look at, you're speaking of lightning, a lot of times when the lightning counts are increasing over time, we know that a storm is strengthening. I want to back this up to 8:30 tonight. There was 74 cloud to ground strikes with that storm. We bring it out to real time, 248 cloud to ground lightning strikes with that storm. So we know that this is a scary situation for anybody that is listening to us right now, and a dangerous one.
And again, you're looking at in that polygon, our viewers there in Richmond, just kind of on the outside fringe of that. But you've watched this tornado warning move from west to east over the last half hour.
Yeah, this storm has probably had a tornado warning on it for at least an hour now. We watched it tornado warned in Indiana and Henry County for quite some time. For our friends there in Butler County, again, early heads up for you. Franklin County has a tornado warning on it. That storm is going to be tracking towards Brookville in Franklin County, Indiana. So if you have friends there, call them up, let them know they have a dangerous storm heading their way. And this will be getting into Ohio there in Butler County, probably after 9:30 or 9:40 tonight. So the main concern right now continues to be right over Cambridge City. Let's check again to see if we have any evidence of lofted debris, and we still don't. So that's the good news, but at the same time, the radar beam in this part of our viewing area is nearly 4,000 feet off the ground. So if debris isn't lifted to at least 4,000 feet, we don't actually see it. What we do see, though, is that evidence of rotation right over Cambridge City. I would heads up right now in Centerville there in Indiana, again, not Montgomery County, but Wayne County. You're under the tornado warning, and this thing looks to be heading east by just southeast. So this is going to be heading towards your neighborhoods over the next half hour or so. You've got excellent lead time on this storm. So go ahead and hang out in that interior-most room, basement if you have one. You can take your phone with you and stream us on our WHIO weather and news apps, so you don't have to stay by the television set all evening in order to stay up to date with us. Let's see if we can give some all clears here. We still have the tornado warning active out there in Henry County, Indiana. Anybody that may be listening to us, or if you're chatting with friends out there, they are in the all clear. The circulation has now fully crossed into Wayne County. The main concern is right over Cambridge City, where, again, look at the intense velocities showing up on the velocity mode of our radar here of gate-to-gate wind shear of over 80 miles per hour. It is somewhat high up in the atmosphere, but that is a lot of wind shear that we're able to see in that part of the thunderstorm. As we've often seen here lately, the circulation is rain wrapped. So of course it's getting darker now because we're past sunset, but the circulation that we're tracking is right here, now getting just off to the northeast of Cambridge City, and it is covered up in rain. So don't go outside trying to see this. You need to just stay inside and stay safe as it's approaching you. And also, if you are listening to us on WHIO radio right now and you happen to be driving out of the Miami Valley westbound on 70, that is a hail core that we're starting to see as well. All the pinks showing up on the radar could indicate some quarter size or larger hail. So not only are you in the tornado warning, but you have the hail threat. If you can see us, pull off into a gas station, into a convenience store, some kind of sturdy structure. Don't just camp out underneath a bridge or an overpass. You need to be inside a building as this is coming on through. And again, if you're just at home listening to me right now and you know you have your husband, wife, neighbor, friend driving along this stretch of road, let them know what's coming their way. The environment today wasn't overly favorable for tornadoes, so that doesn't mean they can't happen. We have one potentially happening right now, and that's a dangerous storm riding right along a very busy interstate there in Wayne County. You see the yellow shaded counties, that's a severe thunderstorm watch out there through much of Indiana. None of our Channel 7 counties are under that warning, but that doesn't mean we're not going to have that threat tonight.
Austin, just checked with our assignment desk. No reports of damage at this point. But again, this is on the outer fringe of our viewing area as we continue to watch it head closer in these polygons, move closer to our core viewing area. If you could help our viewers, I see some pink there in the middle. Can you help folks explain, sure, and then maybe do some tracking road by road for folks to give them a better perspective, because that's a big polygon, but you're really focused on that one area.
Yeah, it's quite a large area here. The pink that James is talking about is right here along I-70. So let's clean this up. We'll turn the lightning off for you. Area that I've circled here along 70, that's where we have the potential for some large hail. So that is north of the circulation that could produce the tornado. We'll go on over to the wind mode of the radar where you see all the greens and the reds. And the green indicates the motion towards the radar, the red the motion away. And unfortunately, that strong rotation just passed right through Cambridge City. So right here, that's your dangerous circulation. They will have to, let's make some phone calls to see if those folks are okay and if they had a tornado or not. And then going right into East Germantown right now. Small town, but this is heading right towards you there in Indiana. Not a good look on radar whatsoever. So right along 40 is where this does look to be tracking. Pennville, Heiser, Pinhook. Some small towns right along 40 here in Wayne County. This is not a good indication of what you like to see on radar. Anytime you have these greens and these reds very, very close to each other, we call that tight rotation. And this is the signature that you look for to see if there's potentially a tornado. So right now this is on top of State Road 1. It's heading into East Germantown right now in Wayne County and then eventually towards Pennville. If you know anybody on Wise Road, south of I-70 there in Wayne County, they are in the immediate path of this storm that has a nasty look on it, if you ask me, that could easily be producing a tornado on the ground right now there in Wayne County. Let's do a big picture reset for everybody that just now may be joining us. We have no active warnings in Ohio, so that's the good news. But you see where this is coming from, right from the west. So we send live Doppler 7 radar into motion over the last half hour or so. I've been watching this one dangerous storm there in Henry County. Now move into Wayne County. It has a tornado warning on it. The yellow shaded counties that pop up on your screen there out through much of Indiana are under a severe thunderstorm watch. We're just on the fringe of this threat, but it's enough that we have some warnings locally. We also have that tornado warning for Franklin County, and that tornado warning is, of course, not inside the Channel 7 viewing area, but if you live in Butler County, that's where this storm is heading. Right now, anywhere inside of the red flashing polygon is where you need to be inside your tornado safe space right away, but the threat, I mean, it kind of jumps right off the page at you. Anytime that you see those bright greens and reds right next to each other, you have a lot of wind shear right in a short order. So the latest scan of the wind shear here, 66 mile an hour towards the radar, or away from the radar rather, and 19 miles an hour away, 80 miles an hour plus of wind shear right here over Cambridge City, which could be a tornado in progress. East Germantown, heads up, you are in the immediate path of this right now. then eventually out towards Pennville and Heiser. Tornado safe space, basement for you. Let's click back on the lightning counter here, and we can see that still nearly 200 cloud-to-ground lightning strikes within the last 15 minutes, so we know this is a very loud thunderstorm. I know that this is probably very scary for anybody listening to it. If you just follow the tornado safety procedures, you give yourself a really, really good chance of making it through this thing safely.
Austin just got off the phone with Cambridge City Police Department. They said they have several reports of funnel clouds, nothing on the ground, and no reports of damage
at
this point. But again, she said it's very active, the dispatcher that I just got off the phone with. And I say I can only hope that it stays that way as far as no damage. She said, indeed, indeed. So.
All right, well, that's great news to hear, because I tell you, I got quite nervous for those folks when it rolled right over that town there. But still, just because it didn't produce anything in Cambridge City, East Germantown, right now there in Wayne County, it's the same deal for you. You just heard James say that there was funnel clouds reported all throughout Cambridge City. So any of those funnel clouds could easily touch down and start causing damage there in East Germantown. Let's broaden things out. We'll give you an updated look at the storm track here. If there's any one good piece of information with these storms tonight, they're not moving very quickly at all. They're only moving off to the east-southeast at about 20 miles an hour. Apologize about that. Let me get a little better storm track on this for you. A lot of times, we're tracking these things moving at 60, 65 miles an hour, and they come up very quickly. The lead time tonight is going to be great. We'll be able to tell you well in advance, but you have to heed those warnings. So 2 minutes from now is when that circulation capable of producing a tornado will be over East Germantown. After that, it's going to move through Pennville and Heiser. They're not on the ETAs here. Centerville and Indiana at 9:42 p.m. And if this can hold together, it'll make it into Richmond by 9:59. Richmond right on the fringe of this tornado warning this evening.
Austin, usually as, we've talked about this time and time again, usually as the sun sets, the atmosphere it's not as unstable as it was if it was fueled by the sun. But again, you track these even during our 6 o'clock hour tonight. Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff happening in the atmosphere tonight to support storms late at night. One of those being a strong low-level jet. Basically think of a big rush of wind, maybe a couple thousand feet off the ground, that's helping to fuel some of these storms. That is just now starting to increase across much of Indiana. And that's why they had the greater risk for severe thunderstorms tonight.
Let me ask you again. So I just got a text from Sheriff Simpson out in Preble County. The fair's going on in Eaton. As far as where that's happening, can you do a quick?
Well, just from a lightning perspective, here, you have lightning strikes that are only 18 miles away. Okay. So lightning can strike 10, 15 miles away from the parent thunderstorm.
So, Sheriff, if you're watching us right now, Sheriff, thanks for the text, and that you heard it just from Austin, that lightning's only 18 miles away from where the fair is there in Eaton. So, that's, folks need to heed this warning, because as this stuff continues to kind of head easterly, and you see those polygons continue to move east as well, Sheriff. So if that's the case, you might want to let your folks know that way to help people that are at the fair.
Yeah, you can see just by the motion, too. This storm is moving east by southeast at about 20 miles an hour, but it is definitely coming right towards Eaton. Way too early to say if that circulation will survive there or make it into Eaton, but the thunderstorm with all that cloud-to-ground lightning likely will. 202 lightning strikes now within the last 15 minutes. So folks at the fair, if you're there, you definitely need to be thinking about getting into your car, into a place where you can be safe from the lightning. And I know a lot of folks out there in Preble County will know people at the fair tonight, so go ahead and send them that text message. Let them know what's right next door there into parts of Wayne County. Let's see what's going on down here in Franklin County. So again, tornado warning for Franklin County and Indiana. And if we can get the super corrected, it's not for Fayette County, it's for Franklin County there. And this thunderstorm is still producing some strong rotation right over, basically in between Blooming Grove and Brookfield there in Indiana, tracking towards Butler County. And so if that thunderstorm can hold together, folks in places like Riley and Oxford may have to eventually go to their tornado safe space as well. The only tornado warning inside the Channel 7 viewing area is here in Wayne County. Moving pretty slowly, which is good, but still has a history of producing a reported tornado in Henry County, reported funnel clouds through Cambridge City, So we know that this is certainly a dangerous, dangerous thunderstorm. Just got a brand new scan of the radar in here. You can see that rotation has jogged off towards the east a bit here. And it also doesn't look near as organized either. Let me get a little better angle on this for you. So just a few minutes ago, we had that rotation real tight over Cambridge City. That looks to have now dissipated, and there may be some cycling going on here as we now have the greens and reds closer together off to the southeast of Milton. So you compare this to where the rain mode of the radar is. Yeah, this storm may be cycling a little bit. So sometimes these rotations will broaden out and then they'll tighten back up. And so it looks like for the time being it has broadened out a little bit, but there's still enough rotation to be concerned here, and I'll draw the areas that we're watching. So here in the green, this is the wind coming towards the radar site there in Indianapolis, and then you have the red moving away, and right where the greens and the reds come together here, just off to the east of Pennville Road, that would be the new area of concern for that rotation. Remember, a lot of this is rain-wrapped, so you're not going to be able to see it as it's approaching you. It's loud, it's thunder and lightning, but again, the advice is to go inside your tornado safe space, interior-most room. Don't wait for it. We hear so many times people after the fact, after a storm comes through, and they talk about how quickly these things spin up and then how loud all of a sudden it is. Go ahead and be in that tornado safe space right away.
And again, after dark, too. We've said this time and time again, during daylight hours, you have a better warning because you can see the clouds and you can see, the ominous looking clouds that there are. And unfortunately, sometimes these tornadoes are rain wrapped. Yeah. But here we are, sunset before 9 o'clock tonight, and I'm looking at some of our weather cams, and it's dark out there. And I really feel for those people who live out in rural communities who, can't see anything and they don't know what's coming, but they're heeding your warning. You're exactly right, Austin.
And then, so while we got everybody here too, while the rotation isn't as tight, here's the reset of everything going across the Miami Valley right now. If you live near Dayton, you may have heard some thunder recently. It looks like we've had a couple cloudy ground strikes just off to the west of the city. We do have some heavy rain moving through places like Moraine into Oakwood, lighter rain down there in Centerville. Southeastern parts of Greene County into Clinton County, we have some heavy rain. Same thing out there through parts of Clark County, just over South Charleston. And then same deal there in Warren County. But none of that is severe. All the severe stuff is right on the fringe of our viewing area, but it's still super important that we keep everybody out there safe and ahead of these storms. And then so you can see what could be coming later on this evening. We've been concerned about Indiana all night. This is where the main event was supposed to be and will likely end up being throughout the night. I'll walk over to the key wall so you can see this a little bit better. There's a boundary that extends up right now from just northwest of Fort Wayne all the way back through central Illinois. You can see all those warnings that are starting to get going out there in Illinois. This will likely develop into a very large cluster of storms that races southeast through this evening into tonight, and we could get clipped by that. Unfortunately for us, ahead of the main event tonight, we've had these supercell thunderstorms develop way out ahead of the line, even outside of the severe thunderstorm watch area. But that doesn't matter. They're still just as dangerous, just as important to pay attention to as they start to make their way into the Miami Valley this evening. Brand new radar, scan of the radar should have just come in. So let's see what is going on here now in Wayne County. We talked about the lightning count a few minutes ago. Good news here, it has decreased. Still a lot of lightning there through Wayne County. 168 cloud ground lightning strikes just within the last 15 minutes. But we backed this up to when we first came on the air here, and there was 255 cloud ground lightning strikes within 15 minutes. Latest look of the velocity mode on radar, and it's, yeah, James, it looks like it's cycling back up again. Mm-hmm. So we'll go ahead and query this for you. We talked about how the rotation could weaken and get stronger again. Well, here we go. We have these bright reds. That's the wind going away from the radar. The bright greens coming towards. And 67 miles an hour of gate-to-gate wind shear right there is certainly concerning. We have some other tools that can help us analyze this to see if we have, give us a better idea of if we have tornadoes in progress. One of those is the Barron Tornado Index. So as we give this a chance to reset over here, and it hasn't scanned it. So if that comes back up, I will definitely show that to you. But earlier, the BTI on this storm was at a 4.1. Numbers over a 4 give you a pretty decent chance of having those tornado touchdowns.
And again, Austin, this tornado warning goes until When is
this one only goes for 3 more minutes,
3 more minutes, yeah.
but we'll see if they're going to extend this or not. The National Weather Service, we're in constant communication with them over here, and they have not indicated whether or not yet that they're going to extend this warning. But I imagine there's a pretty good chance of it, so let's go ahead and treat it as such. We still have this rotation, which looks to be cycling back, getting a bit stronger here, and also is a bit further south. So the area of concern, go back over to the key wall so you can better see this on your screen. The area of concern is right here where the greens and the reds come together. This is tracking east by southeast. So Cambridge City, you're in the cleared now. Milton, you're in the cleared now. The circulation has passed your locations. South of Centerville, getting into Abington. If you have a mailing address with either one of those town names, you need to be in your safe space. Basement, if you have one, interior most room, away from windows and doors. There in Abington, you have enough time right now. If you live near a mobile home, get out of it. Go find a sturdy structure nearby if you can get there within a matter of minutes, because the circulation is only moving at about 20 miles per hour. And there it is. So the new tornado warning was just issued by the National Weather Service. So let's get the latest on that. New tornado warning now includes parts of Union County and then just the downstream areas there in Wayne County. So the Weather Service obviously is still concerned about that rotation we were just talking about. And this goes until 10 p.m. So if you're just now joining us, we're going to be on the air with you now until at least 10 p.m. as we have these dangerous thunderstorms starting to move into the Miami Valley that have the potential to produce tornado touchdowns. If you're watching us in Richmond, you probably just got this alert on your phone. New tornado warning for you in Richmond. In all likelihood, the circulation's going to pass just to your south, but it's still too far out, and you know how the tracks can change. So let's not go ahead and take that for certain. If you live south of Richmond, I want you in your tornado safe space. Let's get an updated look at the roads that are right in the immediate path of the circulation. So right now, the tornado, if there is going to be one, would be on top of 3 Mile Road. This is tracking out towards just south of Wendell Road, towards Tice Road, eventually out towards Mercamp Road. All of this, again, in Wayne County there in Indiana. And as we broaden things out, really anybody that lives inside of that red flashing polygon should take it seriously and be inside your tornado safe space. So that does now include us there in Fayette County. But again, that's outside of the Channel 7 viewing area. And then that also includes us there in Union County in Indiana. Main focus, though, for us will be for our friends that are starting to watch us there and continuing to watch us, rather, in Wayne County.
Austin, real quick, we have some damage reports now out of Wayne County. This is from Skywarn, trees in a power line. This is the kind of, I guess, on the east end of Dublin Park in Dublin, Indiana. So, again, parts of Wayne County now seeing some damage. And again, it's conceivable that, could these be straight line winds? I mean,
yeah, easily. I mean, the storm is producing winds north of the circulation upwards of, let's see, 50, 60 miles an hour. So that definitely could be the case. But as we zoom on in here, yeah, and that's why anywhere, James, anywhere inside of that red flashing polygon, you've got to take the damage advice seriously of being inside, away from windows, away from doors, in an interior-most room so that you can stay as safe as possible during that dangerous thunderstorm.
And I'm just looked on the map here. Dublin, Indiana is just west of Cambridge.
Yeah.
So again, right where you were focused on about 10, 12 minutes ago.
Right.
As you saw the differentiation between those two colors coming together.
Right. And it's 9:30 at night. We're well after sunset, so it's going to be harder to tell, what was tornado damage or not until the sun comes up. Good news here. We were tracking that storm down there in Franklin County. That tornado warning has been dropped off, so that's good, but still, early heads up there through parts of Butler County that we have had a storm with some rotation in the past that we may have to watch yet again. Let's get back on the latest scan up here in Wayne County, and you still see that evidence of that green and that red coupled up close to each other. That would be that rotation moving just south of Centerville here. Put an updated storm track on this for you. So this is only, let me broaden it out so we can get some more towns in here. This is only going off towards the southeast at about 20 miles an hour. So the good news with that is you've got ample lead time but you still need to take it seriously. So the only place that showed up on the ETA here was Abington at 9:51 p.m., but we know there's folks that live in between those two places. So as we go on in to road level here, this is a little further down the line. So Wendell Road out towards Mercamp Road, Smoker Road, all of you inside that tornado safe space right now. This includes you there, Study Road and Tice Road. The circulation is up here near 3 Mile Road, moving off to the east and southeast at about only 20 miles per hour, but still potential damage produced back near Dublin, whether that was from tornadic rotations or straight line winds, it doesn't really matter. Dangerous thunderstorm that you want to seek shelter from as it continues to move off to the south and southeast this evening. We haven't checked the correlation coefficient mode of the radar lately. Let's see if there's anything on there. What you'll look at on this part of the radar is if we have any lofted debris. Now, where you see everything in one color, that's good news. There is nothing that jumps out to me right now that would say we have debris lofted high up into the sky. But because of where we're looking at there in Indiana, the radar beam's shooting at about 4,000 feet off the ground. So it may not catch all of the debris that is possible from this potentially tornado-producing thunderstorm. Getting into Preble County now, we were talking about the Preble County Fair. You have rain now pretty much rapidly developing off towards your southwest, pushing towards the fairground here. It's not a lot of lightning with this, but I can show you as we back it up. We go from having, not a whole lot to a lot of rain off to your southwest right there. So I would say be in a car, be in a place that is safe from lightning. One cloud-to-ground lightning strike so far there in Preble County. We go back out into Wayne County. Again, tornado warning now includes Wayne County, the northeastern corner of Franklin County, and the northwestern corner of Union County. This all goes until 10 p.m. this evening. This thunderstorm now has a history of producing damage and potentially a tornado back in Henry County, as we did have somebody report to the National Weather Service in Indianapolis that they spotted it. And here we go again. I mean, just as quickly as this thing will kind of weaken and broaden out, you very quickly get the greens and the reds close to each other. That's where we'd have that circulation. And this is moving off towards the east by southeast at about 20 or so miles per hour. Let's see if we have any other analysis I can give you on the BTI here. And yeah, we do. So, told you a few minutes ago that the Barron Tornado Index is a scale. The higher the number goes, the more likely it is that we have a tornado in progress. And if you can see it there on your screen, I know it's kind of small, but it's at a 4.5. So our radar is telling us that this thunderstorm has a pretty good chance of putting down a tornado. And you can see this is right near Tice Road, tracking off to the east. Mercamp Road, you're in the immediate path of that circulation, just south of Wendell Road. Even if you don't get the immediate circulation, you see all this bright green? That's a lot of very strong wind coming right towards you, and then eventually out towards Smoker Road as well, and into Study Road. Tornado safe space for you. Basement is ideal. If you don't have a basement, maybe the interior-most room for you is underneath a staircase. That would be a great place to go. Maybe you have an interior bathroom. That could help keep you safe from this dangerous thunderstorm.
And I know, folks, when you hear Austin talk about that, you're thinking, okay, an interior room, yeah, is that really going to protect me when a tornado hits? I can tell you in the late 90s, I was in North Carolina, and I showed up at a house after a tornado. It hit this family's home, leveled it, and one family member was hiding in a bathroom on the ground floor, the other underneath the staircase, and that was all that was left of that entire house, just west of Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
And it's also amazing, too, how many times we see damage pictures after the fact, and the roof is immediately tore off, and the upstairs of the homes are destroyed, and then downstairs, it certainly looks like you could have made it through.
Yeah.
And so that could easily be the case with any storm that we track out there this evening.
And I know it sounds crazy to get out of a car, and Austin was talking about this a few minutes ago. If you knew somebody on 70, hey, you need to warn them. But, I've also covered hurricanes where I couldn't tell what was left of a car because it was picked up. And again, cars are just as bad and just as dangerous as if you're in a travel trailer or a mobile home. I mean, they're so small in comparison and so light when it comes to what these tornadoes can do.
They sure can. So it's 9:37 right now. Tornado warning is what we continue to track there in Wayne County. This also includes us there in Union counties. There are no warnings through Ohio quite yet, not even any watches quite yet. But this weather off to the west is what we're concerned about. If you're watching us here right along the Montgomery-Greene County line, there's some rain and some thunder and lightning. That's not dangerous at this point in time. Same story as we look down through much of Clinton County. We were tracking this one tornado warning there for Franklin County in Indiana, but the Weather Service has allowed that to expire. But you see this thunderstorm here is still rotating, and that rotation is heading towards us in Butler County. So heads up in Riley and south of Oxford. Even though there's no warning on that storm, you may not be out of the woods quite yet. And then we continue to see this thunderstorm up there in Wayne County cycle. The rotation will weaken, and it'll look like things are getting better for a little while, and then they'll tighten back up. And right now along Tice Road, tracking towards Mercamp Road is where we have the greatest concern right now. Smoker Road, Inslee Road, eventually towards Abington. I know there's a lot of pretty rural areas in between where the rotation is and the next town that it could hit, but still, people live there, and we've got to keep those folks safe for sure. If you're watching us in Richmond, in all likelihood, the tornado part of the circulation is going to pass down to your south, but this is still a dangerous storm for you. You can see all the bright greens there in Centerville. That's some strong straight line winds that are tracking towards your location. As we go back over to the rain mode of the radar, while it's not as bright, we still see a lot of pink showing up right along US 40 there and then south of I-70. And so that certainly could still be some hail. And so if you're listening to us, say you're on WHIO radio and you're listening to us as you're driving through Preble County, sturdy structure for you would be a good idea. Don't drive into the most dangerous part of this storm in Wayne County since you don't have to. Let's see if we have any, still no evidence of lofted debris with this. I know you see the bright colors up here showing up just to the west of Centerville. That's likely hail showing up on the radar. It's likely not debris.
Austin, go ahead, I don't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good.
So we have Indiana Department of Transportation. You see this this image that we have here. We have pulled.
Step a little closer.
It's a what's believed to be a funnel cloud. We've put a circle. It's way off in the distance right there. But again, this is from Indiana Department of Transportation. One of their cameras. This was I think you said, Shelby, just a little after 9 o'clock, right? Around 9 p.m. Well, and again. That is in the Cambridge City area. Again, right along that path that you've been following since about 8:30, almost an hour now, Austin.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and you saw that when it was rolling through Cambridge City. That was probably the worst looking circulation indication that we've had all night, and I definitely thought there could have been that potential there. So.
Just got another text from the Preble County Sheriff. They have closed the fair for tonight. They're in Eaton, but there are concerns because there are numerous campers there. People who might have livestock. They're showing whether it's 4-H, but again, that's a concern that these people can't just up and move right now. But again, fair is now closed because of the concerns that you obviously have and the sheriff's been listening.
Well, that's good news, too. And regardless if Preble County sees any warnings or not, the lightning alone is a dangerous enough threat. I mean, you can't stress it enough. If you can hear thunder, you're close enough to be struck by lightning. And a lot of that frequent cloud-to-ground lightning is just now starting to get to the state line there. So just south of New Paris. So I think that's a good move, although that's probably not a move that's real popular with the folks trying to have fun out there, but we got to stay safe.
Still, I mean, we're pushing on 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah,
so,
that is true, too.
Yeah.
All right, so here's the latest scan on radar. Still a concerning look here. We have a lot of strong wind being detected on radar. As we click on these bright green colors here, this is where we likely have winds 60 to 70 miles an hour of wind shear. It's showing a little over 50. So still strong wind shear being detected by radar right where I'm circling here. And it looks like this rotation is going to track right to the north of Abington there in Wayne County. So again, still tracking a dangerous thunderstorm that could have a circulation tighten up. Our producer Shelby just showed us that picture there, and it could easily drop a funnel just like that. So basement if you have one in Abington. If you don't have one, interior most room, lowest level. You want to place as many walls between yourself and outside as you can. And if you have a bicycle helmet, something as simple as that to cover your head with as you go into your tornado safe space can provide just that much more protection. And even if you just decide to wear boots, that's important. Unfortunately, tornadoes produce a lot of damage where they do occur, and you don't know what you could step on once you leave your home in one of these situations. So hard-soled shoes, boots would be a good idea as well. I want to show you.
EMA director for Wayne County reporting some trees down, power lines down in the Dublin, Cambridge City area, but no reports of structural damage. And I guess 911 said, there are not a lot of calls coming in, which is encouraging at this point. But again, as we talked about, that's a more rural area, especially Dublin, just a little bit west of Cambridge City. But nevertheless, there is some damage. Richmond saying, we talked with Richmond PD, they have trees and power lines down, and that was
they weren't even
they weren't even in that polygon.
I was gonna say the worst of the weather hasn't even gotten to Richmond yet. So that is why there's an old saying of respect the polygon, and that's why you have to do it. That was a severe thunderstorm warning, which included everybody there in Richmond. And so they had damage before. I mean, the worst of the storm is still right off to your west. Big picture view here, guys. So we have that severe thunderstorm watch out there through much of Indiana and Illinois. That's where the bulk of the action is going to happen tonight. I think once you rejoin us here at 11 o'clock, we'll be tracking more strong to severe thunderstorms in that region. And a lot of that activity is going to miss us down to the southwest tonight. But as we look here into Wayne County in Indiana, we've been tracking this storm now on the air with you for, it feels like, about 45 minutes or so, but we've been looking at it through other parts of Indiana longer than that, and there just continues to be rotation capable of producing those funnel clouds, potentially tornado touchdowns. This is one of the lulls in the action right now, where as we get that new velocity scan in, we don't see anything real close together to indicate a tornado in progress. But you still see the wind shear of the reds and the greens broadly within that tornado warning polygon, and that could tighten up in pretty quick order like we have seen. I want to see there in Richmond what may have come through your neighborhood. So we back things up. There was certainly a burst of heavy rainfall, and that heavy rain may have been just enough to drag down some strong to damaging wind gusts as that storm was starting to roll on in. Preble County, you are not currently under any warnings. We just have some heavy rain, thunder and lightning starting to move into Eden right now. We'll check back in on this storm down there in Franklin County in Indiana. And there is still some evidence of rotation on this thunderstorm as well. Not enough for the Weather Service to issue a tornado warning, but you can see where that green and that red is fairly close together. That's tracking towards Riley, eventually towards Millville. So no immediate tornado threat, but certainly some rotation that myself and the National Weather Service will be keeping a close eye on.
We our producer's telling us that we're seeing this is an Indiana Department of Transportation camera. Look at all that lightning.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it further amplifies what Doppler 7 radar is showing. I mean, it's almost constant as far as lighting up the sky as we look there. This is right there in the Richmond area, very close to State Route 227. But again, off in the distance, that's what you can see screen left up in the upper left-hand corner of that live shot.
And you can see still 162 cloud-to-ground lightning strikes with that storm within just the last 15 minutes. A note from the National Weather Service is that they're seeing multiple images on social media of a wall cloud that moved northeast of Brookville in Indiana. So that was the storm down here that we were just talking about. Still not enough rotation for a tornado warning at this point, but again, if the rotation gets tighter, the Weather Service most certainly will issue that tornado warning. Latest scan of the radar that just came in here is still fairly good news. Obviously, we still have a tornado warning in progress for parts of Wayne and Union counties, but for right now, the rotation is broader. Let's hope this trend continues, because this would be a weakening trend in the thunderstorm. We have also seen the cloud-to-ground lightning strike count drop from 250 plus lightning strikes every 15 minutes to 167. When we see the lightning strike rate decreasing, it's often an indicator that the storm is decreasing. So on one hand, that is two things of good news for this thunderstorm. On the other hand, it is still a rotating thunderstorm that could tighten up in short order. That's why we still have the tornado warning in effect. Even without the tornado threat immediately present, you still have this large swath right here. See that bright green? That's the potential for damaging straight line winds moving right on through much of Wayne County right now, right south of National Road there. And then the worst of that wind is definitely going to be getting into Abington over the next probably 10 to 15 minutes or so.
You know, I just got a text from weather specialist Nick Dunn, and he had been speaking with Wayne County Skywarn, and in Abington, the fire department there reported rotation in the clouds, just off in the distance, but again, nothing touching the ground. But again, that's been several minutes since you just mentioned Abington in the last 10 to 20 seconds.
Yeah, so there's still definitely that broad rotation there. There also may be a little bit of broad rotation back towards Waterloo. Let me cross-check this with, probably not. There's not a lot of rain there, so that's what we call low signal to noise. So the main concern is still what's getting into Abington, but it has definitely broadened out. The main threat with the storms that come through later tonight will continue to be damaging straight-line winds, but just to show you, out there in Indiana, they're not done with the tornado threat either. As more storms have started to develop, here's a brand new tornado warning for Madison County in Indiana with one of those cells that has popped up. So unfortunately, the severe weather threat this evening has come in the form of some rotating thunderstorms. I know you're hearing a lot of thunder and lightning now starting to get into Eaton. Again, this is not a severe thunderstorm for you quite yet. There is still a severe thunderstorm that may have the potential to produce a tornado just next door there in Indiana. Through much of the Dayton area, a lot of us are dry, but we still have some light rain with some occasional cloudy ground lightning strikes in between Dayton and Xenia. And then over Wilmington there in Clinton County, it looks like we're starting to get rocking and rolling with some frequent cloudy ground lightning in that region. But still, the only warning that we are tracking currently is there in Wayne County. Getting new scans on the radar every 1 to 2 minutes here. And let's go ahead and check a few more things. This storm continues to look increasingly sloppy. So that's good news here.